In casting, liquid metal is used in order to produce the desired shape of the object. So the replica of the shape is nothing but the pattern. However, in patterns there are variety of number. So what are the number of patterns that are existed? Let us have a look into this. This is the classification of patterns. So the patterns which are used in casting process are many. Let us see one by one. Those are of single piece pattern, two piece pattern, multi piece pattern, gated pattern, cope and drag pattern, match plate pattern, skeleton pattern, sweep pattern, loose piece pattern, follow board pattern, segmental pattern, and shell pattern. Among these patterns, the construction of various patterns. Let's have a look. Initially, a single piece pattern. It is represented in the figure. A single piece pattern. A single piece pattern generally which is used for simple casting process. Of course, this is the cheapest pattern among all other types of patterns that are available. The important feature of this pattern is that there is no need of joint in the mold area. Okay, so continuously a piece of pattern is there which is a single piece. Okay, and there is no requirement of any joint in the mold area. It is used for generation of large castings, just like stuffing box of a steam engine, and also it uses for the casted products which has the simple shapes, flat surfaces, just like simple rectangular blocks. If you observe the figure, so this is a single piece pattern. Okay, and where cope and drag, already we know what is cope and what is drag. Okay, and the liquid metal is poured through this pouring sprue. Okay, so then the liquid metal will be poured into the single piece pattern. So this is of our desired shape. The next category is of two piece pattern. Two piece pattern is nothing but what, which has two pattern halves. Unlike single piece pattern, it has two pieces of pattern. This two piece pattern is also called as split piece pattern. It is generally used for somewhat the castings with intricate shapes. In two piece pattern, half part is always molded in drag flask and the other half is molded in cope flask. Okay, so the cope part of the pattern has dowel pins which are shown here. Okay, so these dowel pins are used to align the two halves like cope half and drag halves of the split piece pattern. This type of pattern is used in applications where it is very difficult to withdraw castings from the mold. Two piece patterns are used where the depth of castings is very high. Okay? So the castings which has more depth, we choose two piece pattern. Then the next category of pattern is multi-piece pattern. So this multi-piece pattern which is shown in this figure, okay, which has multiple blocks. Sometimes these castings have very difficult and complicated designs. In such difficult situation, this type of multi-piece type patterns are used. In multi-piece patterns, there are three or more number of patterns are included. This three-piece pattern, of course, three-piece pattern is a simple multi-piece pattern. This three-piece pattern consists of top, okay, as scope, bottom as drag, and some middle parts. Okay, so this middle part of this type of pattern is called cheek. Okay, so this is a simple multi-piece pattern which has scope, drag, and cheek. Then the next category of pattern is gated pattern. So in gated pattern, if you observe, generally these are used to make multiple components inside a single mold. Gated pattern is nothing but the pattern consists of one or more patterns. For suppose here, if you see, this is one pattern, this is another pattern, this is 3, 4. In the same way, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so 8 number of patterns that are used here. Okay, and through which patterns where gates and runners have already attached. Okay, so this is the runner, okay, which is attached here, and this is the gates is the just initial point of the mold. Okay, so but these patterns are, of course, these are very expensive. Small castings further are used in mold machine as well as in mass production systems. Then the next category is scope and drag pattern. Okay, so in the scope and drag pattern, it is just like if you see, this is a pattern, okay, and which has a scope and drag house in the mold. Okay, scope and drag pattern is a type of split pattern. This pattern has scope and drag on separate plate. Scope and drag pattern has two parts which are separately molded in the molding box. Scope and drag pattern is almost similar to two-piece pattern as we described just earlier. This pattern types are used in the production of large castings, okay, and where the molds are very heavy and unhandy for the user. In such a case, we go for the use of scope and drag patterns.